What's up guys, Chasing Leonie here for episode number 27 of our Williams revival here on F1 Manager 2022. And in today's episode we are going to Zandvoort hoping for a much better performance than we had in the absolute clown show that was Spa. If you want to see that episode, go check it out, give this a pause and go back to episode 26 to see what I'm talking about. It was not our finest hour. So, we've got the Dutch Grand Prix in 4 days in Zandvoort. Hopefully we're able to get through. We've done some designing and rebuilding and hopefully some stuff will be going on. We're going to get some new parts on the Saturday, but I don't know if I can get them on for the Sunday or if I'm going to have to wait until we get to Monza for those parts. I believe Monza is the race after this one. We'll have a little look at what's going on. Hospitality area in poor condition. Well, I feel like we'll just do an upgrade of that and get ourselves some more sponsorship money for next season. That feels like a good thing. Look, I've just done the boardroom because I was not paying attention. I was paying attention. That's absolutely fine. Good. I knew what was going on. Let's refurbish our weather centre though, because that's going to be an important thing for the rest of the season. We will upgrade it before the end of the season, I'm sure. Right, looking at our performance targets for the race. In fact, we should look at the car before we look at the performance targets, just to make sure we've got all the right parts on. We should do. Let's make sure we've got all the right front wings on, because we did smash up many in the last round. That's going to be the key thing. Nothing else is going to be replaceable for this race. Let's see what our analysis says for this race in terms of where we're at. Looks like we could be going for a solid 7th place finish. I think we can probably manage a solid 7th place finish with at least one of our drivers. So let's have a little look and see what we're going to say about our performance targets for this coming weekend, because that feels like it's going to be a solid thing for us to do. Right, we've got locked into reaching Q3, so we're going to say we can get both our drivers in the top 10 in quali. That's what I'm saying. So we're going to take the Q2 bonus as well for both drivers, because otherwise I'd be lying. Let's go see what we can do for a finish position. I'm going to say finish position. We're going to get one driver in the top 8 in the points, because I don't trust the drivers to not screw it up after the last race. And I think we're probably good to go for the race. So nice short intro for this episode. There's in fact, I say a nice short intro. I didn't tell you where we were at in the standings. English. Right. We are 4th in the constructors. We are fighting Alpine for 4th. We're a long way behind Mercedes, Red Bull and Ferrari, so 4th is kind of the best we can do. And in our drivers, well, Piastri sits in 7th. He's got a reasonable chance of getting in the top 6, I would say, this season. Teo Pourchaire is battling for both 9th and his seat, in theory, with Valtteri Bottas, but I did say in the last episode that we are going to try and keep hold of these drivers just because it's cheaper. We'll see what happens. Let's go to the race weekend and see what we come out with. I'll see you on the other side of qualifying. So, qualifying is over then, and it's been a bit of a mixed bag, this one. There was some rainy sessions and some crazy sessions and some weird stuff happening and all sorts of madness going on today. Leclerc takes pole, which is fairly standard at this stage. Sainz taking 2nd to lock out the front row for Ferrari. There's Verstappen, Hamilton, Russell, Pourchaire takes 6th, Ocon takes 7th, Norris in 8th, Ricciardo in 9th, Piastri takes 10th, but it is important to note, Piastri got slightly screwed in Q3 in that he was following Pourchaire, getting a little bit of a tow, and put up a purple first sector, and then Pourchaire decided to bin it into the wall and bring out some yellow flags, just to help out his teammate as much as humanly possible. Alonso takes 11th, Bottas in 12th, Gasly in 13th, Magnussen in 14th, Sergio Perez all the way down in 15th, having had an absolute nightmare with the rain in Q2. We've then got Vettel in 16th, Stroll in 17th, Tsunoda in 18th, Albon in 19th, and Zhou Guanyu fills the final spot on the grid. There are some grid penalties just to mix things up. We may even have got some because I put the new parts that came in on the car and they didn't seem to like me doing that, which is weird. Anyway, let's see what Crofty's got to say.
Race day has arrived and the time has come for these drivers to fight it out wheel to wheel.
Qualifying went well for Williams, as attested by their strong position on the grid. Now it's all about finding that edge for the race itself. We saw a reasonable push from Mercedes in qualifying, and they'll have plenty of opportunities here to achieve a great result. There's been some light rainfall throughout the day, which means that teams will want to make good use of the intermediate tyre.
So it's time for some fighting between the sand dunes, here at the Dutch Grand Prix.
So that will be a key feature of this race, actually, is there is some rain on the ground for the race, which should make things very, very exciting for us. We're going to have a little look at what the weather reports are saying, because that will be important. The weather is saying rain until... I mean, that's going to be a nightmare. Let's be honest, that's going to be inters to wets. Maybe back to inters, back to wets. And then wait for it to dry out. So, I don't know what we're going to do here. I think we have to play this very much by ear. I'm not going to fully strategize this one. I am going to just go with the weather a little bit. Which feels like the right thing to do. Let's have a little look just to make sure we've got the best possible tyres on. We do. Setup wise, we're all good. We're on 100% feedback, which is nice. Fuel wise, the rain always makes things a little bit interesting because you don't use as much fuel per lap as you would do if you were under normal conditions. So what I think we'll do is we're going to try and go fully fueled, because that fuel we save, as well as the extra power we'll get from it, is probably going to help us out in terms of later in the race. So we'll try and make that work out for us. There's no real difference in pace in terms of the early stages of the Grand Prix, so that's not going to be a big problem in terms of rain, extra power. You know, it'll help us, but not a lot, is what I'm trying to say. Let's go pace-wise. I'm just thinking, the smart move, looking at the weather report, let's go back to the weather report. The smart move here could be to say it's going to spend more time being wet than it will being inters, and go with a ducking and diving in and out for the weather conditions kind of strategy. But there's also an argument of just try and take the inters as far as possible. I think I'm going to just go aggressive on the inters and we'll see how it goes. We'll go aggressive from the start. We can always adjust if we need to later on in the race. Let's just go full out attack. We are starting a little bit lower down the grid because we got those penalties for changing the rear wing and the side pods. That's not big drama, if I'm completely honest. We'll have a little look just to see what that brings in. That should get us perfectly through the first set of the rain, and until we change onto the hard tyres. So let's see what Crofty's got to say now.
A smattering of rain, and the driver's now in position and waiting for the lights. Here's Williams. They're in the front half of the pack, so there's plenty of potential for them. And looking at the second Williams car. They'll be starting the race from the bottom half of the grid, so there's a fair bit of ground to make up. And we're just moments away now. Here we go. It's the Dutch Grand Prix. And it's lights out, and away we go.
So we're underway. We're going to go on board with Piastri for the start of this race, purely because I think he's got the pace to get himself up through the field. We will, of course, be keeping an eye on that rain. It's probably going to get worse before it gets better, so we're just going to keep pushing on these inters, knowing we can probably make up some time if it gets to super wet, which I think it will, and get ourselves a little bit of an advantage that way as we're going on a big push, trying to get up ahead of Perez, who somehow jumped us with the penalties in the start and whatnot. Interesting stuff there for us, got to be said, but we should have the pace to keep up and follow him through, because I can't imagine that Magnussen or Gasly are going to give us a big amount of trouble as we move up the field. Pourchaire further ahead, it should make easy work of Ricciardo, and does in fact, as I say that, make easy work of Ricciardo, and should get past Norris quite easily as well. We should be doing okay. We were very firmly in the top of the field. Let's have a little look at the overtake we've just pulled here on the Haas from off-board. Beautiful stuff, made it work up the inside, and we are well away, and we should be getting very quickly past the Alfa Romeo. I almost called them a Sauber then. That was interesting. Bit of a mental glitch. Either way, it'll work out. Team are happy with that. We're going to see the overtake for Pourchaire in a second as well. We'll have a little look at that because we will undoubtedly get a replay of it. As Pourchaire overtakes Lando Norris, we can see him up ahead having a little bit of a battle with the two McLarens, but doing very, very well. And we are gaining and gaining, and Pourchaire, as long as he can keep it on the road, is actually doing a good job of getting some overtakes done. I think everyone else is being very conservative on their inters, and I think that's probably going to cost them if the rain gets any worse. I don't mind switching to a second set of inters if I need to, stretching that out long and seeing where that gets us, because I think there's still more pace in doing that than just trying to stretch out a set of inters. As Piastri goes for a look up the outside of Perez, doesn't quite make it work. Going to have a look going through the carousel, not going to quite get there either. Pourchaire, the fastest man on track right now, and that's got to be a big benefit to us in the grand scheme of things as well, as we keep on in this battle with Perez and Piastri. But there is action happening further up, as Pourchaire looks like he's trying to have a go at Ocon. So we're in a bit of a battle in two places with the Alpine cars, which is interesting for us. Piastri now behind Alonso, looking to follow Perez through, which should be okay. But in the meantime, we have got Pourchaire going for the big boy overtake on Ocon, and he's going to make it stick, get himself onto the back of Verstappen, and we are looking solid right now. I am going to drop down to neutral now on our ERS, just because I want to save a little bit. I don't want us to be burning it all out. Pourchaire overtaking Ocon gets a replay. We don't need to see it. We were on board as it happened. Piastri, meanwhile, is kind of getting stuck behind Alonso, not overly bothered by that, it's got to be said. Sainz finding some clear air, making a gap up front, and the Ferraris have in fact gapped the Mercedes quite handily. Piastri has made a move up on Alonso, still in battle though, should make it stick through the inside of here, unless through the carousel it's going to be a bit of a tight one. Great battle wheel to wheel with Piastri and Alonso. They are right next to each other, and now Piastri going to have a look at the inside of Perez maybe. This McLaren in front of us could cause some problems for Perez, because they should be fast enough to kind of keep up. Have a little look at the overtake from the off-board camera, get that done as well, because it was a beautiful move. See, Alonso thought he had it done there. We got the pedal line out of the carousel and just made it work. Kept up behind, and we're back into the fight, following Perez through, making it all look very, very easy, which is what we want to see at this stage in the Grand Prix. We could be on to make up for our huge errors, as Piastri, as we come back from the replay, makes his way past Perez and gets a little bit held up on the back of Ricciardo, but he does have a slightly better line through this corner. Can he power out, get himself into the final hairpin? Looks like he's going to make it happen. That's great stuff for Piastri, and now we're on the back of Ricciardo, and we're looking pretty solid. We should be able to get Piastri past the two McLarens quite easily, considering we've got Pourchaire past them quite easily, and Pourchaire not really known for his overtaking skills. So this should be okay coming off of the final corner, heading into the start-finish race. Should have the power over the McLarens, you would hope. Are we going to try and make it stick around the outside at Tarzan? We're going to try and have a go. Don't know if we've got that line there quite right, but we'll do our best. We'll see what we can do here. Piastri keeping Ricciardo honest and getting pulled away from Perez, which is going to be the key thing, as the rain is starting to come down a little bit heavier now, and I think that's going to vindicate my decision to burn these tyres out and just go straight to a set of wets as quickly as possible, and hopefully keep that momentum going. Where are we looking on the rain chart? Let's have a little look at that. We're kind of stuck in that kind of interstage for a while, but that is going to go up sharply around lap 10. We should still have the tyres on the go then, so we'll be laughing. Pourchaire making an attempt on Verstappen up ahead, which is very ballsy. And Russell has been dropped by Ferraris, so it's possible he is the cork in the bottle a little bit, and maybe we're on for a podium. It's not impossible if he can hold up Verstappen enough to help us get past him. I reckon Pourchaire might get lucky, pull past Russell, get himself into a podium, whilst Russell holds up Verstappen. It's not impossible, and Verstappen, of course, here at his home Grand Prix in the Netherlands, is going to want to try and win the race. That is for sure. We're going to speed things up a little bit, just so we can kind of get through this early stage of the race until things kind of even out a little bit. As I said, we're looking at around lap 10 before the rain really becomes a tyre changing issue, at which point we're probably going to go on to some wets for a bit, see if we can make up some time that way. I'd like to think we can. Piastri has made his way past Ricciardo. Let's have a little look at that replay just so we can see what happened. He's gone on the outside of the carousel again. Great overtaking spot for him. And Piastri is away and gone past the car he would be driving in real life. There you go. There's a fun fact. We have managed to actually improve Piastri's fortune significantly in this game universe, as well as in all ways, I would like to say, by letting him drive for Williams rather than driving for McLaren. Porsche, though, still having a look at the back of Verstappen, looking really good. Piastri will be the next one taken over today. You've got to think he's going to get past Norris fairly quickly, which is always what we're looking to achieve. We're doing a good job, though, staying behind Verstappen, although I think, as I said, it's because Russell's so slow rather than because Porsche is so quick. But, you know, you take the points where you can get them. We've got both drivers in points-paying positions right now as well. Piastri has pulled away from Ricciardo quite nicely, staying behind Norris, who looks like he's trying to make inroads on Ocon. So that could be an interesting battle to come. But for now, we're going to stay on board with Porsche, looking at the back of Verstappen, coming up the last corner. Hopefully get his foot down quite nicely, get a good slipstream here. It's not, again, out of the realms of possibility he can get a move done. We're just looking for the right point where we've got that little bit more power, a little bit more pace over the Red Bull. And there are a couple of points on the track, I think, we probably do have a little bit more pace. Certainly through his middle sector. Something's happened in Sector 1. I'm not quite sure. It must have been Bottas having a moment, because he is never going to drop behind Tsunoda and Show. Could have been Hamilton as well. Let's have a look at what happened, because Hamilton has dropped right to the back of the grid as well. I don't remember seeing anything about that. So, interesting start. Hamilton having an absolute nightmare out there today. I don't remember seeing him go off or seeing any reason why he dropped back there, unless he started very low on the grid. But that would have been very odd, unless he's made all of the part changes. Not quite sure. Don't know. Wish I did. Didn't see anything about it. Either way, staying on board with Porsche. He is getting dropped a little bit by Verstappen, it's got to be said, but not significantly just yet. We're still very much in that dry or that damp stage of the race rather than the wet one, but I am very much expecting that to go up in the next couple of minutes or so that should be okay. As soon as we start getting into that heavy rain coming, I'm going to come in for a set of wet boots, and we're going to try and get some positions done, because I think the first people in onto wet are going to make hay before the sun shines, as it were. Right, I'm going to go into super speed mode, I think, because we're not really close to him. Piastri has moved up into 7th and is closing on Ocon. We'll keep an eye on that gap just to see what happens. The water is coming down a little bit more. There's more rain coming onto the circuit at this point. We're not quite at the crossover period onto wets, though, so nothing to worry about just yet in terms of a strategy change. Piastri will jump on board with, just see what he's doing behind Ocon. He's not too far behind his teammate, so a double stack is almost out of the question. Almost, but not quite. There is just about a pit stop between the two of them. So it's possible if we need to, but again, we'll keep an eye on the rain. As Piastri decides to absolutely bin it, not seconds after we decided to start talking about a strategy. Let's see what happened to Piastri. He's come through Tarzan, clipped the inside curb, just binned it. He should have kept it running, surely. You've got to hope he's going to keep that moving, although he does have to wait for every car on the grid to go past him. But, you know, hopefully recoverable. There could be a recovery drive on. We'll see what happens. I'm not sure why it's not showing him driving out. But let's have, like I said, recoverable. Recoverable. If he's the first man in on wets, he will make some big inroads. But we're going to keep going into zoom fast mode, because his recovery drive, while it will be epic, is not super interesting for any points tallies. The rain, I'm starting to reconsider. That's the worst it's going to get, and that's an inters. Okay, let's try and stretch out the inters, shall we? Because if we don't stretch out the inters, we will be in some trouble, and we might have an issue on our hands. But I do think some of the cars are going to have to come in for some inters. Let's see where everyone's at with the inters. We're Yeah, I mean, they are going to try and stretch, but that's fine. That's fine by me. We'll make it happen in good ways, because that's what we do. Right, Pourchaire, he is getting dropped by Verstappen, now he's not full push. That was to be expected, but as long as he stays in the points, I'm not going to be unhappy with that. Pourchaire, of course. Having said that, part 2 of the clown show is on, because the boys have both decided that they'd rather play in the sand than try and win points in a Formula 1 race. Absolutely disgraceful. I have sort of reached a point with these two where I started to think, should I just bin them off? Let's save ourselves a world of hurt here. I am thinking, I mean, Pourchaire is still very much in the race, somehow, but Piastri has absolutely had a mare, and I am starting to think, do I bring him in for a fresh set of boots and take advantage of having that bit more to offer, because it isn't going to get to fully wet, looking at the peaks there. I think we're going to bring in Piastri. We're going to put him on a new set of mediums, a new set of inters, and just see how that plays out with the crossover period, because I think he'll have an advantage at that stage. He is, of course, going to be miles behind for a little while. He shouldn't get lapped, which is okay, because he should have more pace than a lot of the cars coming for him. But I think some clean air, fresh tyres, I think he could be well placed to make a good recovery here from that. I think he should catch up with the other teams quite handily. They will probably have to make that stop in the middle, so I think coming in for the early stop is probably beneficial in that regard. It's at 2.7, it will do us nicely, as Pourchaire is going to have to come in for some tyres. Hopefully we'll come out ahead of Albon. And Pourchaire has absolutely binned it and punctured his tyre. Has sort of made that decision for me, hasn't he? Sort of made that decision for me. Good stuff, Theo. We're very proud of you, and unbelievable. He might be out of the race, to be honest. There's a safety car, which is going to help. It will help Piastri. Let's just see what Pourchaire has managed to absolutely bungle this time. Jesus wept. What were you thinking, son? That is not the way to drive, and that is not the way to park your car. Pourchaire is retired again. Great stuff for Theo Pourchaire. We're going to try and save our tyres a little bit. We'll save some ERS. Right, it's all on Oscar Piastri to get points. All on Piastri. Beautiful stuff. Pourchaire, you absolute chimpanzee. What are you thinking? I don't understand how that boy thinks sometimes. And the more I think about it, the more I think it might be time to find a replacement. We're catching slowly up to the train. I wouldn't say we're catching at any great pace, but we've managed to catch the back of the field just before the safety car came in, which is going to be fine. So we're going to go push, we're going to go overtake, we're going to go standard on the tyres, and see if we can make some places up. As normal race conditions resume, give us the free pit stop and the fresh tyres, and we should start feeling quite good about things. The rain is not going to get significantly worse, I think, so we're going to be okay. We're going to keep pushing forward. Piastri's made up a couple of places already, and is looking at Albon. Should get Albon fairly quickly, you'd like to think, because these two Aston Martins are absolutely worthless. So they'll get past fairly quickly, like anyone with a car. Including a road car, to be honest. They'll get passed by almost anyone, and Piastri should get his foot down over the line, get himself past Albon. Come on, buddy, you've got to have this going, got to make this dive bomb going into turn one. He's not going to do it. I mean, that was a poor piece of judgment, because I would have really gone for that. Either way, he'll make his way past eventually, hopefully before Albon and Stroll get too far separated. Otherwise, we're going to have bigger questions to ask. Come on, buddy, get past him. Get past him. This should be easy pickings. I don't know why you're not pulling it off. I know Albon's good, but that Aston is terrible. I think he's being boxed in by show. And come on, we've got to get this very quickly. Got to get this overtake done. Otherwise, we've just wasted time. Good overtake there. We've used all of our ERS. trying to get past an Aston Martin. That's unbelievable stuff. Either way, we've got the pace to catch up to the back of Stroll fairly quickly. We'll rejoin as he starts getting ready to make that overtake. And I said it just as he was getting ready to make the overtake. He's on the back of Stroll and Hamilton. Vettel, of course, just ahead. So we've got a Hamilton-Vettel battle for absolutely nothing happening in front of us. That's beautiful. And hopefully beneficial as things go. Just having a look to see when the rain is going to start stopping, when it's going to dry out. That's lap 40. Our tyres are going to be, just about on track to carry us through the drying out period until we get to the dry tyres that should take us to the end. I'm hoping we can get bang on a set of medium boots and call it a day for some points. We've got past Stroll as I've been talking about tyres because that was interesting. Let's see what we can do here with this, what this overtake looks like. It's just a big sweep up the inside, followed by another inside dive. Job done, straight on the back of Hamilton and Vettel, and we're all looking pretty good. We're all looking pretty chuffed with ourselves. We'll keep the train moving, shall we? Because, we're about to go into battle with Sebastian Vettel and Kevin Magnussen. This could be interesting in many ways, but we'll see how it goes. Let's double speed it. I'll press the right button. I'll remember my right from my left, because that's something I need to do. It shouldn't be something I need to do. Right, past the AlphaTauri. Come on, buddy, let's make this work. Going for the dive at the inside. Didn't quite make it, but had a good look. Valiant effort. We're not wasting too much time. Getting the good line around the carousel again onto the back of Kevin Magnussen. Make it stick. Leave the AlphaTauri for dust. And start setting our sights now on the Haas. Great stuff. Come on, Oscar. You are our only hope. And we'd like it if you couldn't bin it again. That would be good. Just keep it on the black stuff, buddy. We'll be fine. That's all I ask of you. And that's all any of us ask of you. Right, come around the last corner. Come on, let's get this good pass. We've got the traction. We've got the run on Magnussen. And we're going to make it happen. And now we can get on to chasing down Sir Lewis Hamilton and Pierre Gasly and Fernando Alonso and start getting ready to remake the pass we made earlier on the McLarens, which is going to be a big thing. So have a look at what everyone else is doing tyres-wise. They are burning through them quite happily. There's something happened in Sector 3, which must have been a Ferrari. It was Charles Leclerc. Let's see what Charles Leclerc's done to ruin his race. Charles Leclerc, big bin through the sandpit, and for some reason, rather than go over the sandpit, just drives right into the wall, because that is what a logical human does. A Ferrari looking disappointed to have once again done a Ferrari, which you'd think would come as no surprise to them by now. And Leclerc might have to come in for fresh tyres. Is he coming in? No, he's staying out. He's going to be okay. He hasn't completely ruined his life. Okay, so Piastri now. Keep an eye on him on the back of Hamilton. Trying to line up a pass. Not really the place to do it, but I like that he's trying. I like that he's trying to make the big, bold overtakes. And there's probably a big, bold overtake to come here, because we should get a good run on Hamilton out of this corner. Hopefully stay in touch with him. I wouldn't have looked around the outside there, but I fully understand why Piastri did, and we're going to keep on pushing as best we can as we come back through the final corner, cross the line, and Hamilton is going to stay ahead because Piastri did not have an ERS after that final corner. I would quite like it if we could get a DRS to open. That would help me out immensely. But we're doing okay. We're staying behind Hamilton still. We're making it look okay. I don't know if this pass is going to come anytime soon. I feel like we're going to be looking at the back of Hamilton until the pit stop phase comes to fruition, purely because it's Lewis. Unless his tyres die off, I think we're probably stuck in this position for a little while. But people are going to have to come before we do, because their tyres just won't make it all the way to the dry period. You've got to think they won't make it all the way to the dry period. We may have saved our race with the early pit stop. It might have been a 1,000 IQ play, might have been a 1 IQ play. We'll never know until the checkered flag falls. And by then, Piastri will have probably stuck it in a wall anyway, so it won't make any difference whatsoever. As we stay on board with our only race winner thus far of the series, Oscar Piastri, who will be looking for next season's car to be better, and I'll be looking for him to be better in next season's car. It's got to be said, as we try and close the gap on Hamilton now, we're not going to keep enough ERS to really make an impact coming through this corner, but we are sort of using a bit more per lap. We're saving a little bit more per lap just to really kind of get ourselves into the thick of things. And we've almost smashed into the back of Hamilton. I had a little bit of a nightmare then, but it'll be absolutely fine. We're going to be okay. We are just waiting for this pass to happen. I know the second I decide to go zoom off board, that'll be exactly when we either pass Hamilton or smash into the back of him, which is why I've stayed on board for this long for a thing that's not happening. Let's go off board, have a little look at the outside of the car, give the sponsors some love. As Piastri, is he going to try and line up a pass again this time? Should have a good line, should have a good run here. I mean, we are being held up by Gasly. You can't help getting the feeling we're both being held up by Gasly a little bit. And again, cork in the bottle. It's cork in the bottle syndrome. If we can get past Gasly, we'll both get onto the back of Alonso and we'll be in a position to challenge for some points. But it hasn't happened just yet, so we'll go back on board and we're waiting for this track to dry up, really. I think that's when we're all going to really come alive as racers. Once the track comes to drying, we'll be fine. George Russell is in a really good position, actually. If the track dries up at the right moment, he could be absolutely laughing. I just want to see where we're at in terms of the track drying up. One more rain period, and then we're good to go. That rain period is going to last about 7 laps or so. So, did I count that right? I did count that right. 7 laps or so. And then we will be ready to go for the dry tyres. Change of boots, change of scenery, change of fortune, you'd have to hope. How is everyone else's tyres doing? They are coming towards the end of that tyre life. I'm not sure if they'll make it another 7 laps without us having a real tyre advantage. I think I'm going to do a bit of an aggressive push on the tyres, just to see if that gives us a little bit more to get past Lewis. As Lewis comes into the pits and has abandoned all of his hope, honestly. In fact, we'll keep on aggressive, because I think if we can get a few positions out on track as well as a few people coming in for tyres. Hamilton, what's he coming out on tyres-wise? Another set of inters, fresh inters, but at the back of the grid. He might have done himself up like a kipper. If I'm honest, he may not have made the right strategy play there, and I think maybe the early pit stop we were forced to do could work out a treat for us, because Verstappen now in as well, and he's going to have to come for dry tyres soon enough. Piastri is in a very, very good position. Are we going to get out ahead of Verstappen? We are. And hopefully we'll get past Gasly fairly soon, because you've got to think his tyres have got to be dying. They've got to be screaming out. We're going to go for the move right now, in fact. Come on, buddy, let's make this work. Make this work. We've got the inside and we've made that stick, and we're onto the back of Fernando Alonso. And there's going to be some cars ahead of us who are going to come in for pit stops and put on fresh inters before we get to the dry period. And at that point, you know, we could be on for some serious points as George Russell comes in. And we're really looking to see if anyone's going to come in for a fresh set of dry tyres. Who's going to be the first to blink and go on to dries? Can't imagine it'll be George Russell somehow. I think that's a bit far-fetched as Piastri goes at the inside of Alonso, making these moves look easy now. He's got the tyre advantage. That's what we like to see. Good stuff for Piastri. Let's drop him back down to a standard just so we don't waste all of our tyres. And it looks like Verstappen and Russell have both come out onto a set of inters. Verstappen actually getting the jump on Russell, getting the undercut. Good stuff for him, I suppose. And the rain has stopped, and we're clear now. And Perez is the man in the box, and he's going to be the one answering the question of when are we going to dry tyres? Is it going to be Perez that goes to dries before anyone else? Because a lot of the guys ahead of us, Norris, Ricciardo, Ocon, Sainz, they may have played it absolutely perfectly, and we may have to go back into an aggressive mode purely to try and maximise the advantage of these tyres. But keep an eye out to see what Perez is coming out onto the track on, and Perez has come out on a set of inters. So apparently Red Bull don't believe the track is going to dry up anytime soon. That's interesting, but I think it will dry up faster than they're giving us credit for. And as I say that, Ricciardo gets jumped by Piastri. Good stuff. We'll watch that on the replay when it comes in, because we're going to try and get ourselves off the back of Lando Norris now as well. Let's see this replay, see how that looked. Round the last corner, up the inside, great stuff. Went low, put the power down, powered past him on the main straight. DRS is going to open fairly soon as well, which is going to make things very, very interesting. I'm just waiting for the crossover point. where the track will dry, which I think is going to come either at the end of this lap or next. Team looking very happy. That's what we like to see. I think either the end of this lap or by the end of next, dry tyres are very much going to be the order of the day. So I'm going to go full attack on these tyres now. Really, really try and push as best as I can to get onto the back of Lando Norris, get a firm podium position on track, and then hopefully we'll be laughing. Because I think that in this changeable kind of condition, the overcut is the answer. I don't think the undercut is going to work out for many people. And I don't think anyone can undercut us purely because the tyres were so much better than the tyres of the cars ahead of us. I mean, Sainz is free and clear. It's got to be... Oh, come on, Piastri. Oh, whatever I say, let's get whatever done. Absolute ball job. Perez comes to say hi and tell him he's been a moron. And he is retired, isn't he? Don't retire the car. Come on, buddy.
The team are devastated.
Okay, Piastri's kept going. That's going to work out a treat for us because we're going to take advantage of that and be the first team on dries. I'm trying to do the count of how many laps are left. We're going to go 34. They're not going to go 34, so we're going to go with a fresh set of mediums, and we're going to rag them. That's going to be our plan. We're just going to try and make the best of it. We are going to lose out on that potential podium that we could have had, but we do need to get the pass. There's some rear wing damage, which is not going to help, so we are going to need the advantage of the track drying up, which, to be honest, it should be drying up before we get out of the pits, so we could be in a really good position here. Certainly will be dried out by the time we get around the first lap. We're going to be at an advantage before everyone comes in for dries. That's the hope I've got. Of course, that rear wing, I don't know how badly damaged it is. Doesn't look too bad from the visuals, but we'll get a better idea from talking about aerodynamics here. Minor damage, okay. We might be okay. So, let's go quick zoom, because DRS is enabled. And is anyone else going to come in looking for a set of dry tyres? Carlos Sainz has come in looking for dries. That's not the worst thing in the world. We are probably in a good position in terms of other cars coming in as well. And we're not, like I said, we're not getting a podium out of this. Ocon's gone for a lead. Norris, Ricciardo coming in. Alonso coming in. Gasly, Verstappen coming in. Magnussen in. Perez coming in. He's not. He's staying out. Stroll is in. Okay, lots of drivers going in for the dry tyres. That's not the worst thing, I don't think. Let's see if we catch anyone, overtake anyone. We have got ourselves onto the back of Charles Leclerc, or certainly got ourselves ahead of Hamilton and behind Leclerc. So, again, as long as Piastri can keep it sensible, we might be okay. Let's go down to standard, not burn out these tyres. That's a good idea. But it has worked as a undercut strategy. Guan Yu Zhou going into the pits now. Perez coming in. We've taken the fastest lap of the Grand Prix. That's a nice thing to see. And we're going to come out ahead of Perez. And we just need to get caught up now to Charles Leclerc. Anyone's still out on inters? Surely no one's that mad. A lot of people have gone for a fresh set of softs. I don't know where they found a fresh set of softs. I don't care, if I'm honest, because I think those softs are going to burn out quite quickly. Let's see how the tyres are looking. Perez has got a very fresh set of softs. So, because he didn't do Q3, Perez could be in a really good position here. I think we might have just have to try and stick to the back of him. That's going to be our plan. Just stick to the back of him. Let's have a look at the intervals just to make sure we're doing the right thing. We're keeping ahead of Hamilton, so it's not the worst. We just need to get ourselves into a position for DRS is the real kicker here. So, I mean, we are in sight of Lance Stroll in 10th. That's not the worst thing in the world. We can start putting a gap on Hamilton and hopefully start pulling ourselves that little bit closer to the back of Perez. I am still quite angry that Piastri has somehow managed to throw away a near guaranteed podium for no good reason whatsoever. We're just not having the best couple of races, and these should have been races where we picked up points. We've got a car that's very quick in a straight line. Hamilton now on the back of us, so we are being held up by Lance Stroll, something chronic here. Luckily, DRS about to open after this corner. Can someone, for the love of God, get past Lance Stroll so we all have the space to at least race a little bit? Because otherwise, we're all just wasting each other's time. That's basically how I feel about that situation. Let's double speed it, because someone surely has got to get past Lance Stroll on the main straight. You'd have to think someone's got to get the overtake done. Hopefully Kevin Magnussen will be the first past. He's not getting past him. I mean, how is Lance Stroll making that Alpha Tauri that wide? The man is an offensive driving masterclass, and I don't know how he's doing it, but we need to get involved here, and if they're not going to overtake Stroll, we need to be ones trying it, because otherwise we're all just here for no good reason. Ocon doing very well, by the way, in second. Gasly in third. Verstappen is going to have to really work to get on the podium here, and he will get himself past Lando Norris, you'd have to think. But can he get himself past Gasly? That's going to be a big question as we get the DRS open again. Try and make some inroads onto the back of Perez, who still cannot get past Lance Stroll. It's completely inexplicable, but he cannot get past Lance Stroll. And we're not really doing a great job of anything at all ourselves. Let's be completely honest. We're having quite the torrid time in the back of the midfield. We should be getting ourselves up and involved somewhere. We've got to get past Lance. It's got to be done. I'm not quite sure how we're going to do it, because there is part of me just saying, in fact, I say part of me saying, let's just harvest as much ERS as we can whilst the cars ahead of us have nowhere to go. Because even if Hamilton does pass us, which seems unlikely, we'll be in a good position to get some points or get some places back once we get Stroll out the way, which cannot be far off coming, surely. Magnussen too busy battling Perez to focus on the prize, which is Stroll's head. And it's just not going well for us. I don't know why we're not focusing on, all of us, on just getting past Lance Stroll, but, you know, I'm not driving the car, which does make it a little bit difficult. Can we get something out of the way here? Anything out of the way here, quite frankly. Lewis is closing up. We're losing a little bit of ground to Perez, but I'm not overly concerned, because we will go to a neutral as soon as we've regained some ERS, enough ERS to stay respectable. I say that, but we are actually we are losing ground and getting in danger of dropping out of the DRS zone, so I don't want to push it too far. Let's get ourselves back up. We can always drop down to the harvesting again when we need to. The important thing as well is to just keep Piastri on the track, because honestly, the man is a liability, and we all need to respect the man's being a liability. Right, come on, we're on the back of Perez now. Can we have a look at Perez, because he doesn't want to make any overtakes, and no one quite understands why. I mean, if I was looking for a new driver, Perez is one of the guys I've been looking at, I wouldn't be overly impressed by the fact he can't overtake Kevin Magnussen in a Red Bull, which is the second best car on the grid by quite some distance. So, you know, I'm just throwing it out there. Piastri might be doing a better job than I give him credit for. He's not, but he might be, and that's the hope that's important. Right, coming on the last corner, let's see what we can do here. We need to be able to really pull off something special, because we're running out of laps. There are 16 laps to go, 17 laps to go, and we do not have anything to offer at this point in terms of a threat. Let's have a look at the tyres of the cars around us. I mean, somehow they're keeping those softs alive, and I don't know how they're doing it. You've got to think some of them must be starting to drop off soon, just based on pure maths. Some of them have got to be dropping off quite soon. We are still staying in touch though with Perez, so I'm going to try and save some more ERS up. Let's do that. Get the charge on. Hamilton having a little look. That's okay. He can have a little look. He can't have a full look. We're not letting you get that full bite, Lewis. It's not going to happen. Stop even trying. I said stop trying, bud. I couldn't be more clear. Let's go back to actually using our ERS, shall we? And then hopefully we should be able to do some passing on Sir Lewis, who is going to be looking fairly lively here. Let's double speed it. just to get ourselves a little bit more into this battle. We've got to have something going for us here. Stroll must have found some pace from somewhere. I'm not sure how else you explain it. In terms of tyre wear, Hamilton's about to drop off, so him passing us at this point is kind of negligible because he should lose any grip fairly soon, and we should just be able to do him. That would be the hope. Right, somehow Lance Stroll is making a gap between himself and Kevin Magnussen. This is embarrassing, boys. I don't even know how or what we're doing. Let's go for the overtake, shall we? Because otherwise we're just going to get stuck here for days. No one's really trying. Get the DRS open, get the ERS button down, get ourselves on the back of these boys, and let's start catching up, because otherwise we're just wasting everyone's time, and I don't know how we're wasting everyone's time this much. I mean, we shouldn't be seeing a gap between Magnussen and Stroll. Stroll is not in the best car on the grid by any any stretch of this imagination, in any way, shape or form. I will get my words in the right order at some stage. Come on, boys. Come on. Let's do something. Let's go to neutral just so we don't completely wreck our engines. And hopefully we can just stay here in a nice casual position, ready to take advantage of the tyres wearing out, any mistakes that are coming. Got to think Lewis is going to make a mistake or wear out his tyres. Let's go a little bit faster, because we do have to get ourselves involved. Perez has finally taken charge, got himself past Magnussen, so has Hamilton. We've got to get past him soon as well, otherwise we wasted all of our opportunities. Hopefully under this DRS zone, but it's got to be said, there should be enough of a gap, and we should have enough pace to get past K-Mag, and then we should be okay. Come on, let's get it done. Get it done, buddy. Anytime you like. Anytime you like. Just have a look, make the overtake. Quite a simple thing I'm asking you to do. I'll say out loud, I'm asking you to do a very simple thing, which is overtake a Haas. That's all I'm asking you to do. Come on. Magnus has been dropped, so we should have free DRS by the next DRS zone, at which point the pass will be easy. We don't even need it. We've just done him on the carousel. He's come back at us because he had the better line, but he's held himself up enough now that he'll have lost DRS. We're going to do him now. Get the job done. Stay behind. Oh, what have you done, Oscar?
Take a look now. Now we see the Williams here.
That
is a serious collision.
was some first-class stupidity from Oscar Piastri. And he's got himself a penalty. We've got to come in for the pit stop. I'm just going to stick on whichever set of softs will get us to the end. Stick on our new front wing. That's literally what all this guy does at this point, is waste of front wings. We can go full attack, and we're just going to have to see what happens.
Now we see the Williams here.
Okay, it was just the same crash again. I saw a crash involving multiple. Piastri's going to pick up a 5-second penalty, which is not going to help. It's going to come out somewhere around lapped. Leclerc has come in for a pit stop, which tells me he's had an incident somewhere. I'm not quite sure where that would have happened, but he's had an incident somewhere. And he might just be going for a fastest lap, just for the fun of going for a fastest lap at this stage. That isn't out of the realms of possibility. We're serving our penalty. Come on, buddy, let's get it done. We've been overtaken by someone. I can't even work out which team that is ahead of us. That'll be someone Haas ahead of us. 9.5 second stop. Great stuff. So it's Magnussen that was ahead of us, but we should have the measure of him because we can push a set of softs as far as we want to, as far and as fast as we want to push a set of softs at this stage. Odd that Leclerc would give up points without being able to, without thinking he can get through the field. He must think he can get through the field. He's actually on the verge of being lapped by his teammate. That's how far ahead he is. Sainz, you've got to think, is going to come in for a new set of softs as well. 34-second gap. You'd have to do it, wouldn't you? You'd have to do it. Come in for that extra set of softs. We're going to be okay on tyres. We're doing okay in general, I guess, in terms of the car's not on fire yet. Okay, let's just get ourselves going as quick as we can up the grid. Really push. Sainz has not come in, and he's getting caught very quickly, which might have been a mistake. I came in for tyres. That's what's happening. Okay, Piastri sets the fastest lap of the Grand Prix. That's good stuff. That's a nice move, although Sainz is going to take it very, very soon. And us, honestly, probably quite soon. That's a concern. Let's try and maybe stay ahead, put some cars between us, bit of leapfrog going on. We can see the Ferrari in our rearview mirror, which won't help us. There are a lot of cars coming in for a lot of pit stops right now. So maybe they've just thought, oh, we're going to be super dangerous on a set of softs. They're not going to risk it. Let's get past Albon and move ourselves up the field a little bit, get ourselves back onto the back of Kevin Magnussen, and then hopefully they'll start taking us a bit serious. A lot of teams coming in for pit stops. We're not going to catch up to many of them, what you'd have to think. Can't imagine we're going to catch up to Valtteri Bottas, but Magnussen and Tsunoda, certainly achievable. We'll overtake Tsunoda now. That's without a shadow of a doubt. And Magnussen is our next target. We are keeping ourselves in a good position. We have got Albon between us and Sainz, which is exactly where we want him to be. I mean, Piastri has probably wasted a minute and a half by being facing the wrong way in this race. He probably could have had a win today and somehow has completely blown it, which is just a thing I've come to expect of him. Let's catch up to K-Mag. Let's do what we need to do to catch up to K-Mag and keep this bloody Ferrari behind us, because otherwise the race is effectively over, and that's not what we want. We want to be staying on the... Oh, what are you doing, you absolute clown?
Let's take a closer look. Now, we see the Williams here.
Absolute clown.
But that could have been much worse. The team are really disappointed with that. Let's hope it doesn't set them back.
I mean, you'd just quit at this point, wouldn't you?
Yellow flag there. Yellow flag.
Yeah. Let's be honest, you would just quit at this point, wouldn't you? Okay, let's go on to our last set of softs. In fact, let's just change up and make sure we don't need to replace that front wing. Let's go on to our last set of softs and just burn them out. Why not? We've got nothing to lose. We're just going to try and steal the fastest lap. Just because, well, we probably also need to inspect the car, let's be honest. We're a lap behind, so there's nothing to lose here. We're just going to go all-out attack for the last lap and see what we can do. Hopefully something, just anything. I just don't want to be as disappointed in Oscar Piastri as I am right now, which is I'm very disappointed in both our drivers. We've got one of the fastest cars on the grid. We just don't have drivers that can reliably bring it home. And I am starting to think, is it Piastri and Pourchaire that are the problem? Because this car should be taking points home every race, without any doubt. Should be taking points home every single race. And for some reason, these guys are so incompetent, they can't even finish a Grand Prix, and it really makes me angry. It really does. Like, why? Why? A lot of people work really hard to build you a good car, and you spend your entire time smashing it up. It's just not okay. We're so close, and I don't want to bin off Piastri. I do need to bin off Pourchaire. I don't want to bin off Piastri. But I am starting to think now that it is just time to say goodbye to Théo Pourchaire, because he's just so unreliable. We'll see what the money situation is like after the race. And we'll see who's available, whose contracts are running out. Honestly, at this point, I think I'd rather have Hülkenberg in the car, just because I know he'll make it to the end of a race. And that could be a good short-term option whilst I assess what I'm doing with everyone else. Because Hülkenberg will at least finish a race. He won't win a race, but he will finish a race. Yeah, real questions to be asked after the Belgian and Dutch Grand Prix, especially with Monza on the horizon.
Good work from the Williams driver here today. This was a mixed performance from Williams today. Some excellent decisions and then some strategies that will need a bit of work.
Yep, plenty for them to think about and strategize. and certainly a good enough result for now.
And after this result, the team is fourth in the constructor standings.
We now look ahead to the next round in Monza in Italy. The Temple of Speed is waiting and the teams will be ready and raring to go.
And we've reached a point now where Crofty's taking the piss out of us a little bit. Pourchaire's got to go, hasn't he? He's got to go. I can't have two drivers who can't reliably finish a race. And I feel bad for Pourchaire because he won't get another drive in F1, but the way he's performing, it's debatable on whether he should have got a drive in F1 to begin with, isn't it? If we're all completely honest, it's very much debatable as to whether he should have got the F1 drive in the first place. I think maybe it was too early for him. I don't think he'll get to drop back down into F2. It's going to tell us about the designs being complete on the parts I've already had on the car. Do we have any development points for any of our drivers? Absolutely not. Any of our engineers? Alex Chan will give him a feedback because that will help us out because he's about to get a new friend. Okay, let's see what drivers are out there because Théo Pourchaire's got to go. I can't defend him anymore. I'm really sorry, I can't. It's not loading a list of drivers. There we go. Good stuff. Okay, let's see who has what in terms of contracts. Sergio Perez on his last year. We don't have the money to buy him out. Bottas we could buy out. He's open to negotiation. George Russell waiting to find out on. Ocon we can afford to buy out. Alonso we can't really afford to buy out. Gasly doesn't want to come, which is understandable. Vettel might, and Vettel will at least finish races, but his buyout fee is obscene. Alex Albon coming back would be a turn up for the books, but let's see what Alex Albon's actual stats are like, shall we? Because at least a car we could put a decent. He's steady and unspectacular. And there's a part of me saying I should have just kept him. Who else have we got stats on? Mick Schumacher's not got a drive. Mick Schumacher loves a crash as well, doesn't he? I mean, there's Vesti. What's Vesti saying in terms of being a driver? His braking suspect. Jack Doohan, maybe? I mean, no, because his tyres will just catch fire. Gotifi, bring Gotifi back. I mean, he can't do worse, can he? Marcus Armstrong would be a great shout if he had any potential on this game, which is a little unfair on him. I'm not going to put a Zane Maloney in. He's definitely not good enough. Could put Kubica back in the car. Let's go with Joe. I'm going to play it super safe. I'm going to play it super safe for now. I'm going to stick Valtteri Bottas in the car. I fully understand the risk I'm taking, but I'm going to stick him in the car to replace Pourchaire. We're going to give him 2 seasons. We're going to give him... see if he'll take 19 million. Starting bonus, we'll see if he'll take 1.9. We'll just round things off. That would be nice. And a race target bonus of 1.9. And actually, I'm just going to give him the target for his bonus threshold of you will get a bonus if you get points. That feels like a solid decision. Let's see what Valtteri Bottas says to our contract offer, shall we? We do need him quite badly. He's declined the contract. He wants a longer contract, and he wants a... we'll see if we give him a longer contract, shall we? Exactly the same, 3 years. Come on, bud, 3 years. You'll take 3 years. And hopefully we'll take some points because we'll give you 3 years. He's not quite there, is he? He's not quite there. Surely he doesn't want 4, not at 36. I mean, I'm not against giving it to him, but surely he doesn't want 4. He does want 4. I think we've probably got that done. We have got that done. Beautiful. Okay, let's give him a higher. We're going to be in the negatives, but we're going to stick Valtteri Bottas back in a Williams. and we'll be quite happy with that. That is a good piece of business for us, and hopefully we'll get us some points next season, because he should know what he's doing. Let's be honest, he should know what he's doing quite happily. We'll see how he feels in a few years' time. We've got him for a few more years. We're all good. Okay, Valtteri Bottas replacing Théo Pourchaire. That's a nice move, and we'll keep an eye on Oscar Piastri, because we're not far away from having a few more scouting reports. Obviously, Lewis and George are not going to come, but maybe Yuki Tsunoda? Maybe? I don't like a mid-season driver change. It makes me feel like Helmut Marko, but I also don't like my drivers being terrible. I'm aware this episode's going long, but that's life. Right, difficult race, blah blah, regulation vote, financial changes. Change to cost cap goes up, vote for. Absolutely vote for. Side pods complete. In fact, before we end the episode, because we're going to be in Italy in a few days, and I said we were going to stop developing the car after Italy, didn't I? So we're doing a new chassis. We're going to do another rear wing, because the speed is going to be important, and I think we can get another one done fairly soon. We will do a 1.5. I mean, if I could do like a 3 and get like guaranteed top, or a 6 and get guaranteed top speed, I would do that. But I don't think we're going to get guaranteed top speed from me burning all of my things on a rear wing. It's not going to happen. I mean, I'm just looking for the sake of looking, but we're not going to get that top speed. Even if I go to high speed performance, we're not going to get that top speed. I mean, that's a tasty car though. It's a tasty car, but there are better places to spend that. So we're not going to do that, because that would be utterly stupid. And being utterly stupid is probably not beneficial to us at this stage in the season. Right, let's just go down to a nice standard quarter of whatever we've got. It's still respectable. That's still a respectable game we're going to make. Stick with the high-speed performance. Drag reduction. Let's just top up drag reduction. That's all we need to do. Medium speed, we're going to get huge gains from this rear wing. That's nice. That's nice and tasty. Okay, we'll take that. Can we make a gain on our DRS stuff? Oh, there might actually be some speed here. Airflow sensitivity. I mean, do you know what? There's a thing to gain here, isn't there? There's a lot to gain here. We'll stick with having really bad low-speed cornering. Get ourselves up there a little bit. Dirty air cornering still improves slightly. Okay, job's a good one. Okay, we're going to do that. That's magic. Alright, so what have we got left? 3 or 4 on that. We'll do that in 10. We have no money. So, that's all entirely moot. Okay, we're going to hold off our development stop until after the Italian Grand Prix / when some money comes in. That's going to be our plan instead, because having money, it turns out, is quite important for part development, and we're going to need to do some development of parts. So anyway, welcome to the team, Valtteri Bottas. We're all very happy that you've come to join us. Oscar Piastri notwithstanding, because he's currently kecking himself. Let's be honest. Let's see, did he just swap with Porsche? I really want to know now who has gone into that second seat at the Alfa Romeo team. Do I have a way of finding out? No, don't want to do that. Didn't want to do that at all. That's fine. It's got to tell me who's got the Alfa Romeo seat, surely. Mick Schumacher got the Alfa Romeo seat ahead of Théo Pourchaire. Well, I'm gutted, Théo, but ultimately, you've been a bit shit. So, welcome back, Mick, and everyone say goodbye to Théo Pourchaire, probably for the foreseeable future. In the inbox, just have a quick look at that before we wrap the episode up, just in case it's important. Welcoming Valtteri Bottas, that's what we like to see. Delighted to introduce Valtteri Bottas as our new driver. Good times all around. Right guys, thanks for watching. I've always been chasing Liam. We'll be back for the Italian Grand Prix at Monza with our brand new Valtteri Bottas, getting ready to take the field to bits, be reliable, hopefully, and win us some more points. In the meantime though, like I said, I've been chasing lately. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to like, subscribe, ring the bell, leave the comments, share with your friends, all that good stuff. And until next time everybody, have a good one.